Hello everyone, this is Alexander from Starni Games, and today I'd like to update you on how the previous year went for the Starni Games team and answer your questions, as this is Dev Q&A number 3, and we've asked you to send us any questions you have in December, so now we'll make sort of summary of the previous year and answer the questions that you guys sent us. So I will start with just, a quick catch up on what happened throughout the year. So of course it was the most difficult year for us, as Russian invasion of Ukraine basically threatened our work and our very life, since we are a company based in Kiev, Ukraine, and Russian tanks were sort of 3 kilometers from Kiev at some point, so it was very uncertain times and very dangerous, and many people died, but fortunately nobody from our team, so we've got lucky a little bit with that. But actually one of the guys was on occupied territory, was hiding from the Russian troops there for a week before he and his family could evacuate, and so I would say that when the invasion started on February 24th, of course that sort of, we couldn't keep working at that point for some period of time, so around a month we were, dealing with the situation basically, and as I've said, one of us even spent the week on occupied territory and had to get out of there. So all of these events have affected our team, of course, and it's also what inspired us to create a fully free charity project, Ukraine War Stories, that you can see in the background. It's basically aimed at, it's a visual novel about civilians during the war and how they try to survive. So you can play it for free on Steam. We've developed and released it, started in May and released it in October, so it's already there. And I invite you to to give it a try, and so that maybe if you're interested, of course, and to better understand what's going on here. But of course, since then the situation is of course still dire, and many people die in war every day, and that is all very sad for the humanity as a whole, I would say, and of course for Ukraine the most. But things are sort of more settled down since then. It's almost 11 months into the war as I'm recording this, and of course we've learned to deal with it. So I would say I would name a few milestones that we went through this year. So I would say first months of the war, some of us could work, some of us couldn't work, some could work more, some could work less. So it was like, if you can do something, do it. If you cannot, then it's fine. Then I would say like late March, early April, we've sort of, reestablished regular work remotely. Because some people left Kiev, some remained here, but they've had to make some steps to ensure they have everything necessary and stuff like that. So yeah, but basically April and May we were working remotely, and then by the time most of the team returned to Kiev, so we reopened our office and started working from there again. And of course it's improved our communication and sped up our work. So we kept working on our projects, mainly Headquarters World War II, but also we are working on Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty as well, as we want to finish that as soon as possible and release it. Of course, there were unforeseen setbacks because of the war, so but we are working on it. And of course, small, like, it's not the whole team that was working on Ukraine war stories, since it's a visual novel, it doesn't require our whole team to develop. But of course, you know, even if people didn't like work on it directly, they could, you know, play through it and give their feedback and so on. So everyone were involved, even if to some small degree in that work. And so basically we worked on our two main projects and on our sort of like charity project Ukraine War Stories throughout the summer, and released it in October. And then after we released Ukraine War Stories, all around the same time, the Russia started to like specifically target power supply infrastructure, so like power grid and, you know, power plants and stuff like that, trying to make like you know, basically disrupt power supply and paralyze the life of the civilian population of Ukraine as well. So we've also had a lot of trouble because of that. First, you know, there were like scheduled power supplies, so we had to adjust our working schedule to that. Then it became so unfavorable that we couldn't work from office, because you could have like 5 hours without electricity and there is no point sitting in the office during that time. So we decided we would work from home, and we'll basically you know, try to catch the hours with electricity whenever they are. So oftentimes we had to work at night, etc., when there were more chances to have power supply. And of course you could like lose internet connection or lose power or both, and it was really hard to catch up, you know, to communicate with everyone. And like for example, 3 people have to work at one task, and they all have like electricity and internet at different time periods. So like while everyone kept working, it was less efficient because of like communication problems and like delays of people committing their work to the project, because you can only do that when like both the office and your home have internet and power supply. So that was really problematic. That was basically November and first half of December. Then we finally managed to purchase a quite powerful power generator for the office. So now we, like, starting first half of like mid of December, we returned to office again, and now with power generator and heaters and everything. So basically we have stable like power supply, internet connection and heating, because it's winter, you know, and it's quite cold here sometimes. So yeah, so sometimes we have a regular power supply, but if it disappears for, you know, obvious reasons, then we basically in 5 minutes we can switch to power generator and keep working. So that's really much easier for everyone, as we can, you know, go back to office and work our regular hours. So that's really nice. And so we ended like the year really, you know, happy and hopeful, because we can keep working normally and, you know, keep up to all our like promises and projects that we are working on. So for the next year, 2023, we are planning to release Headquarters World War II together with the Slytherin as publisher. And of course they will announce the exact dates, you know, when it's feasible to announce them. So, you know, keep checking the news and you'll know all about it. But the sign-ups for the beta testers is already opened. So if you want to help us improve the game before release, or if you're like really curious and want to have a look even before it's released, you're welcome to sign up and you'll get access to it pretty soon. Also about Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty, it's also due to release this year. We are still figuring out the specifics because due to the war, it's more difficult for us to, gather the voiceover cast and crew, and we have to look for some new people to join the team for that, and work on the sound production. So like we are sorting out these problems, but it delays the overall release of the game. So while gameplay wise it's almost finished, but in terms of voiceover, language, localization, cinematics, and some final polish, it's still not there. So we are working on that, and we have some plans. So we'll definitely deliver it this year, but I cannot name the exact date at this point. It depends on several factors. So yeah, and we are really hopeful that this year, will bring us, will allow us to first of all finish the projects that we are working on and start working on new exciting projects as well. Also, our team has grown despite the war and all the difficulties we are going through. So I would say that at the start of the year we had around 15 people in the team, and right now we have 25. So we have plus 10 people over this year, and it's significant. It's like almost 2 times the size we had a year ago, and we are looking to hire a couple more people as well. So at least in terms of our work, we didn't run into significant problems. But of course, it's really difficult to keep everything going, as if there is no war. But so far we are managing, and we'll keep doing so, and we'll deliver the games that you guys want to play. So, and hopefully you will enjoy playing them. So I guess these are the key news for this year, and now let's actually go through your questions. So the first category I'll be answering is Strategic Mind series. So we've got a question from Ash. For the Strategic Mind series, will you be doing any other wars, such as Korean War or Vietnam War? So yeah, basically we've discussed such possibilities at length, and this could be good setups for future Strategic Mind games. But right now we don't have any concrete plans that are sort of set in stone for the Strategic Mind games after we finish working on Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty. And we often being asked would you make a game about war in Ukraine in Strategic Mind setting, or Korean War, or Vietnam War, or some other conflict? So maybe World War II in China and so on. So there are a lot of really interesting possibilities to explore, and right now I cannot say which one would happen and which one won't. So I guess we'll have to wait for the Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty release, and then we can sort of finalize the plans for potential future Strategic Mind titles. So yeah, also I'm not sure if there will be other Strategic Mind titles in the current setup, or it will be sort of sequel like Strategic Mind 2 or something with reworked visuals, mechanics and everything. So there are no concrete plans for that at the moment. So yeah, these are just some thoughts that we are discussing internally, but we don't have anything concrete to say to you right now about that. Another question about Strategic Mind Fight for Freedom. from David Case. Why won't my leaderboard advance? So yeah, we've got a report, I think in December, about leaderboards, some problem with leaderboards in specifically in Strategic Mind Fight for Freedom. So we are looking into this issue, and yeah, we'll update you on what was the problem and how it could potentially be solved. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll get back to you on that issue. We'll double check what could have gone wrong there. Next question on Headquarters World War II. The game looks really interesting. I've enjoyed the Strategic Mind series. Can you please allow remappable keys and hotkeys for the actions? And please add a next unit that still has actions. And please, when tabbing through units, try to select units in the current area instead based on their order in the bar. It's beyond frustrating to have to click every action bar action. Sorry for complaining. The games are fantastic. Just the UI in the previous series made the games a slog. Thank you very much, both for support and for your constructive feedback. I really like, when people not, just saying I don't like the game, or I don't like UI, or when they are just giving more precise things than that you should fix, or even suggestions for how it could be fixed. So that's really helpful, and we've used a lot of such feedback in the past as we developed Strategic Mind series. From title to title, we implemented a lot of what players suggested, and that really helped us to bring the games to a higher level. So we'll keep working on that as we work on Strategic Mind Spirit of Liberty, and then make an update for previous titles if there are any critical changes to that. As for Headquarters World War II, of course we are developing the UI that should be convenient for the players, and we are also gathering feedback. So we'll take into account what you are suggesting, and also as far as I know, there is next unit that still has actions button, that's and hotkey in Strategic Mind series. So here I'm not sure what's exactly the problem, or is it? So yeah, please clarify that. Also about tabbing through units, not by the order in the unit list, but through their placement on the battlefield. That could be, I'm not sure how clear it would be what would be the next or previous unit for the players. So that could also be a little bit confusing. So if you could elaborate, if you have any idea how it should work, that would be really helpful to us. But we'll give it a thought in any case. Yeah, I agree that UI could use some work, but that's why we are gathering feedback and trying to address all the issues. I remember that probably the most required feature was the undo button in the Strategic Mind series, and it was really quite difficult to implement it. So we couldn't do that all at once. But we kept receiving players' feedback, and finally we've got the resources and the time, and invested that and added that feature for all Strategic Mind titles. So yeah, I mean, please give us constructive feedback, and we'll do our best to implement that. So thank you, and also if you want to give more helpful feedback and help us build a better game for Headquarters World War II, you could sign up for the closed beta on Slytherin website, and get access at some point. And let us know if you feel that the headquarters world UI is better, or if there are still any issues that you would like to address, us to address. So yeah, that would be really helpful. Thanks a lot. Okay, so the next question is about Ukraine war stories, the project about war in Ukraine that I've told you about at the beginning. So the question from Pablo Noguera: will there be translations into other languages in the future, for example Spanish? Yeah, we've got a bunch of volunteers to translate to other languages. So since this is like a free charity project, we also like mostly accepting help from volunteers, people who want to help us bring it into other languages. We've already have quite a lot of languages. I think 12 languages at release, so we are happy to add new languages, although it sort of slowed down in December because of the power issues. But now that we are back to office, I guess we'll re-establish contact with everyone and keep working on the new languages, and we'll gradually add them as soon as they are ready. So as soon as we have some translation for some language for the full game, we'll of course update the Steam version and add it there. So yeah, I would be happy to do that. Okay, so the next question is about Starni Games team. It's actually several questions. How many people work at Starni Games? When and where was your company founded? Did you learn programming or making video games at school in private courses or on your own? It's a question from Slava Ukraini. Yeah, so as I've said, when I joined the team, there were 3 people working in the office at Starni Games. So it was a really small indie team working on Panzer Strategy. Oh, rather, they've just finished Panzer Strategy and released it on Steam. And then like 1 month after release, I joined the team and a few other people as well. So I would say when I joined, the team grew from like 3 to maybe 7 people or something like that over the next like half a year. And we were starting to work on Strategic Mind the Pacific at the time. And as we worked on Strategic Mind the Pacific, it was like end of 2018, start of 2019. Basically, we've grew to 10 people as we worked on the project, and at release of Strategic Mind the Pacific. Then we've started working on Strategic Mind Blitzkrieg and Strategic Mind Spectre of Communism after that, and the team gradually grew from 10 to 15 people, I would say, as we've released the final, well, not final, but the last released game was Strategic Mind Fight for Freedom. And we've also started to work on Headquarters World War II. So yeah, and this, like in 2022, we've grew the team as well from 15 to 25. So currently it's 25, and I would say that for the next year it would probably be somewhere between 25 and 30 people. So it's not such a small team anymore, but still not a huge company, So when and where was your company founded? So it was founded by Igor Timoshenko, our founder, CEO, and chief technical officer, basically. Basically he founded it with his own money and in Kiev, Ukraine. Yeah, and we work here since then and keep working despite the war raging in Ukraine. So that's about that. Did you learn programming or making games at school in private course on your own? Well, personally, I don't know programming all that well. I've studied some basics at school, but you know, I don't use it that much. So in terms of development, I'm a game designer, so you know, my tasks are basically that everyone know like basically what to do and how it should work and what's expected, how the game is expected to work, you know, producing all the design documentation and stuff like that. Also like you know, managing the team, making sure everyone knows what and when to do and so on. But basically I would say we have like three main like directions. That's game design and level design. That's one direction, and it's people who are, you know, working on how the game should work and what the levels in it should be. And it also includes narrative design, which is like all the texts for the game, the plot line, you know, all the in-game text, both technical and narrative and so on. So basically the game's content. Then we have the programming team, which is like the backbone of the whole project, who are creating all the tools we are working with. Of course, we are using Unreal Engine, but if we need anything on top of that, that's our programming team. And also making sure that, you know, all the game mechanics are implemented, that level game design team has tools to work with to make all the levels and stuff like that. And we have, you know, fixing bugs and everything. And then we have art team who are making the visuals for the game, like all the unit models, all the environments, you know, discussing with the level design team what's the best way to make levels look better and so on. So these are like three pillars in the company, and so you have to learn programming only if you're sort of in the programming team. But yeah, if we are talking about making video games in general, like including all of that, like programming, art, 3D or 2D art, and you know, game design, level design, narrative design. So of course right now people start to learn it as a proper disciplines, but it's still very new. So yeah, in school some people could have something like programming, you know, or some basic PC user skills, but nothing special. Like in university, I guess some people studied programming there, but if we are talking about game design or art, it's mostly either private courses or on your own. I would say most people learned on their own or tried to do something themselves. So, you know, when we are looking for the new, like, junior designers, for example, for the team, I would usually ask people if they did something, you know, even as a side or fun project for themselves or with their friends or something, because it shows that, you know, it's not just some made up intentions, that they're really passionate about it and they already did something. It shouldn't be perfect, but it would show you some dedication that the person, you know, spent some time doing something. So it's really great when, you know, you've already have some projects, even if those are your like personal pet projects, let's say. That's still really helpful when you are looking for a first job in game dev. And of course, many people start with modding, like making mods for some popular games or something like that. So that's also useful because you learn to use like some editors or some engines or some, you know, trying modeling or programming some small game for yourself or something like that. So yeah, you could, you know, start doing something that you like and then try to find a job in the industry, and you'll already have at least something to show for it. And then you just start working in the company, you know, in a junior specialist, and you have certain tasks you have to do, and, you know, either your colleagues explain you something, or you just, you know, self-study all the time, basically, you know, to have a high level of knowledge and understanding and to look for a better way to solve some tasks you're getting. And basically, as a small company, you know, people have very diverse tasks, and they often have to look for some new tech, some, you know, some new features that have been recently implemented and so on. So, you know, a lot of self-learning is required. And I think in the future there will be more like schools, courses and everything. And I think in like countries like US or UK or France, some developed countries, there are already a lot of that, but not, it will be even more in 5 or 10 years. In Ukraine it's smaller. There are a lot of courses, I would say, but courses are also not perfect because they are usually very most courses are usually very basic and sort of just outline of what you have to know, but some courses are really well, so it really depends on you. It's not necessary to go to courses, or you could find some courses, you know, online and self-study. So I guess the key thing is to be passionate about it and, you know, start doing even some small project or something for yourself, you know, and see, like, if you like doing that, then it's for you, and, you know, you can look for a job in the industry. And, you know, if you abandon it quickly and, you know, you don't really want to do that, then maybe it's not something you want to spend your life doing. So yeah, that's what I think. Okay, so the next questions are about future projects. So both questions are from Slava Ukraini. So first question is, your games are set in World War II. Do you have plans to develop games in different time periods? Of course. We've never, you know, said we will only be making games about World War II. It's just sort of happened that way. And yeah, we have some plans for future projects that are not World War II settings, in World War II setting. But of course, you know, we can also keep exploring World War II at the same time. So I would say both, but we certainly do have plans for games in different settings, that I can say. And you will learn about these in due time. Second is, will future projects have a serious background again, like Ukraine war stories, or do you think about creating a completely fictional game? Once again, we are not limiting ourselves to like only fully historically accurate settings or like, you know, turning away from that. I would say that both are possible. We really like exploring historical settings and like realistic backgrounds like Ukraine war stories or like Strategic Minds series or like upcoming Headquarters World War II and Strategic Minds Spirit of Liberty. But of course, we also have some ideas for the projects that could be, you know, set up in different type of settings. So of course, it's too early to talk about those, but what I would expect that, you know, our team is growing, and what I think will happen in the future is that we will have both historical and non-historical games developed by Starni Games. So these are all the questions that we've got. So I would say that, you know, we are planning to have around 2 dev Q&As, like Starni Games team dev Q&As per year. So we'll probably have another one in summer. So if you will have any questions, then we'll, you know, a lot of things will happen by then, and we'll have something more to discuss with you. So, you know, feel free to, we will announce it, and feel free to send your questions, and I will be happy to answer them sometime during the summer. And then the next one will also happen around the end of 2023. So really looking forward to this, and, you know, looking forward to working hard in 2023 to making sure that we finish all of the ongoing project and start working on the new exciting ones. So, and of course supporting the already released games. So yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we are really looking forward to it. And it's really enjoyable to work in game dev in general, and in our team in particular. So yeah, you know, despite all the horrors of the war and everything that happens in Ukraine, I think we are really lucky that we can, you know, continue our work, and you know, we have something to work for and to strive for, and it really helps us cope with the, you know, with the horrors of the war, I would say. So yeah, thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you everyone who sent us your questions. I hope you will find my answers satisfactory. And you know, if you forgot to ask something, you can always email us or ask us in our Discord or on Steam community forum. And yeah, looking forward to, you know, answering you. Sometimes, you know, I could be slower to react than before the war, because, you know, there is a lot of matters to attend to, and sometimes we have like power problems and everything. Not in our office any longer, but, you know, when I'm at home during the weekend and I have no power. So that's could be, you know, less time to answer any of your questions and everything, but I'll do my best to, you know, stay in touch and answer whatever questions or requests or, you know, feedback is coming our way. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and have a good year. And I hope this year the war will end and we all will, you know, live in a better world at the end of 2023. So really looking forward to that. And, you know, all the best to you, your families, and hope that everything goes well in your life as well, and everything goes well for our team, and that you get to play our new games and enjoy them. You know, and you can always give all sorts of feedback to us. We are really grateful for that anytime you do. So yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good day and see you next time.